One of the things as we're going to lie down soon, I just want to go over so that some of you know this and some of you, this will be new. So right, left side, our femur bone, okay? Greater trochanter bone, you can feel it. Mine's about right here. We have a lot of our abductor, our hip muscles that go from inside the pelvis. They attach to this bone. So sometimes you can even feel it when you touch it. You're like, oh, that's a little tender around there. And if you kind of follow it around, right, you can feel it all the way around. So when we do those figure 4 ones, we're releasing this area. On the inside of the thigh, we have a really long muscle, the psoas, that's deep inside the body, passes through the crease here of the hip, attaches on, if you find your lowest rib, that's the end of your thoracic spine and the start of your lumbar before the top of your hip. So you have 5 vertebrae here. And it attaches to your lower back. So sometimes this muscle can get really tight. If we're suffering from a lot of different emotions or stress, this one will tighten up. It'll also affect the diaphragm. It'll compress all through here. Been reading a lot about the fascia and the pain receptors in the fascia. This part of the lower back is highly innervated with pain receptors. Some of you, I shared a fascia documentary on. I'll share it again today if you want to watch it. And, this area, if, sometimes stress or different things are happening, we might start to feel a lot of back pain because those they're called nociceptors. And when they get kind of inflamed or we have a lot of stress, they start to heighten their sensitivity and they speak really loudly to us. They're all through our body. Okay, so other part of the body are the sit bones. So I talk about these guys a lot. And you can feel them. You've got 2, one side. So here's one side of your pelvis, your ilium, your sacrum, held by ligaments. Both sit bones. So sometimes I'll say widen them, reach out through them, lift them up. Okay, so I just want you to know visually when I talk about certain things where we're going. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to lie down. You can just sit down, you can flow down. Just going to lock the door as we're all here. Lower the music a tiny bit. And as you land, so as you come to land on your body, take a moment to take a few breaths. It might be in the nose, out the mouth. You might produce a sigh or a sound. Whenever we release sound from the body, or what we call a cleansing breath, which is out the mouth, we help to initiate a response of relaxation. The other option is to come into the pursed lip breath, which is inhaling through the nose and pursing your lips a little bit as if you're gonna breathe in through a straw. And you slowly blow the breath out through a pursed lip breath. And you'll notice the exhalation almost lengthening twice as much as the inhalation. And when that happens, it signals a part of our nervous system to come more into balance. When we hear certain sounds as well, might be a piece of music or animals or nature, or even the sound of someone's voice who you love deeply, help to regulate us in our nervous system. As you are landing and just allowing the awareness of your breath to circulate through you, and at your rhythm, you'll slowly start to flow in and out of the nose with the breath, at times always leaving that space to exhale out the mouth whenever it arrives. And then checking in with your body. What has arrived with me today? And ask your body, do I need any support? So some of you might grab the chip foam block. We have covers on ours, so they're dark navy covers. So you might place that behind your head, which creates some ease in the shoulders. Some of you also might grab hold of your bolster. And to help ease the lower back, you have a couple options here. You can lie the bolster flat and place it underneath the upper thighs, just touching the knees. And the legs will be a little bit more elongated. You might find this quite comforting, supporting the knees. We had a couple awarenesses of the knees. If you're feeling more release, wanting to come into that psoas muscle that I talked about, or your lower back, having your knees bent. So I've just flipped my bolster up on its side so you can see that. Tucked it under the knees, the back of the thighs, and then you just let your feet walk a little bit away from the bolster so that you drop your weight into the support. Taking note where your arms are. So you might feel your hands want to rest on the belly, palm down. And some of you also have your arms out to the side. So if you have props around you, I want to encourage you just to move the props a little bit away from you so that your arms can move away from your bodies. The closer you have your arms to your body, the less your shoulders relax. So if you allow your arms to even float away 2-3 feet away, you'll notice that you'll create some space for the shoulders, the chest, and the neck to let go. Palms can face up, which creates an opening in the chest. Each time you're aware of the breath, you inhale, body expands. And as you exhale, body gently gathers. You'll feel the lower belly release. Drawing in, the rib cage gathering. Might even notice a sensation of the back body becoming heavier. If you have your hands on your belly, your palms are already open. But if you have the back of your hands on the floor, you'll notice your fingers are a little curled in to the palm of the hand. So we're just going to start by opening the chest. You're just going to take your fingers and your thumb and just open the palm of the hand. Reach the back of your fingers, the nails, towards the floor. Even on your thumb, you feel an open palm. And that energy, that spaciousness will flow up through the arms, into the chest and the back. And just take a few breaths as you hold that open hand. And then when you're ready, just let the hands soften. So instead of curling the palm, just let them soften, the fingers soften a tiny bit, and just notice where they land. You might even do that one more time. Just open the fingers, the thumb, reach them towards the floor. Take a few breaths. And when it feels right for you, just softening. And then if you have your legs more straight and the bolster flattened, I want you to feel the weight is even in both of your heels. And if you have the bolster turned a little bit on its side, where it's angled up and your knees are a little bit more bent, I want you just to feel that you can weight both of your feet into the floor, all your toes, your heel, the back of the knee, maybe resting a little bit more evenly from right to left on the bolster. Letting that energy of heaviness from the feet and the knees transfer up into the hips. You might notice that one hip is a little bit floaty compared to the other hip. Remember, if one side is heavier than the other, sometimes you can lighten that side. Just let the heavier side just become a tiny bit lighter. And then the side that was floating a little bit more away from the floor will then have a chance to drop into the mat, into the earth. It takes more time here just to now feel your whole body, your breath. Just noticing that we're in a secure room together. That helps the nervous system and the body know that we feel safe. Just meeting yourself as you are right here, right now. As we meet ourselves, at times just pausing and breathing and being mindful, it's an act of befriending the body, taking time to really listen to the needs of the body. Okay, as you feel the breath deepen a little bit more, it might take a few breaths in the nose and out the mouth. You're going to start by just wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. You can allow the legs to bend. I just put my feet right on the bolster when I bend the knees, and then you can use the feet or the hands to direct the bolster off to the side. And then just take a moment to bring one leg up. If it feels okay, you can bring the other leg up. So hands can be on the shins. If the knees are expressing a lot more, then it's best to put the hands either behind the knees or on the back of the thighs, just to create space and maintain space in the knees. And you're just going to rock a little bit from left to right. You might circle in one direction, just massaging the back of the sacrum, the lower back. This elongates the back body. And go both directions. Just flow your breath in, so your breath is now partnering with the movement in an awareness. Might be in and out of the nose, which is what we encourage most of the time in the practice. But then there's times, moments where the body wishes to exhale and cleanse out the mouth. So that's exhaling out the mouth, either in a pursed lip or releasing in a cleansing breath, just with a sigh or a sound. Those are moments of us letting go of what's no longer needed to be held in the body. So if you think of it, a cleansing, a letting go, a releasing of anything that you no longer wish to carry. So we're going to take our time to allow the feet to touch the floor. And I might come around and pass out a few slow-mo balls that are not as inflated if you're having a hard time getting the air out, or if you feel like yours has a little bit too much air. But you might just check in with your body. If you have higher sensitivity in your body, then you might just take some of the air out of your slow-mo ball. Okay, and that's by the little plug. And yours is quite inflated, Donna, so I'm just going to leave that one as it is. And I'm going to grab you one that's not so inflated, because that will be a little bit tricky to get out. So you're going to put it underneath your sacrum, and just let me know if you want one that's a little bit more deflated. Yeah. Okay. Good. That looks good. That feels kind of good for your body, right? Yeah. And if your body says, oh, no, that doesn't work, let me switch it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When you land underneath the sacrum, the back of the hips, you're just going to pause. You're going to exhale. Feel heavy. So whenever we put something that's going to come into our muscles and nourish also the fascia, the connective tissue and the ligaments, we have a whole bunch of ligaments in the sacrum here. So then you're just going to start to move a little bit. I'm just going to allow a little freedom of movement to start. So you might just flow from left to right. You might circle. We're going to come together in a moment and do some pelvic tilts, but if you know them and feel comfortable with them, just allow yourself to be guided through it. But you're just using the ball to massage through that back of the sacrum. So many nerves that pass through the sacrum and the lower back area that flow down through the legs. It's called the sacral plexus of nerves. And so we're just taking some time just to release all of the fascia, this fluid network of collagen and elastin, and has a fluid quality of water and hyaluronic acid, which allows fluidity in your body. Just gonna let this quality of fluidity come in. And then when you're ready, you're going to come and just find a place of stillness. Your arms can be down on the floor, palms down. You can also have your hands just touching the belly, elbows on the ground. So that's where my hands are, and feel more comfortable today. Feet are hip width apart, so you're aware of your feet in this one. You do have toes and heel reaching and just leaning softly into the floor. Now you're keeping those sit bones that we talked about nice and wide. And we're going to be moving them up. So you're going to feel your sit bones as you inhale. And then as you exhale, reaching the sit bones up towards the ceiling, you're going to feel your lower back start to move towards the floor. So what we're doing is we're lengthening first. And then when you're ready on an inhale, you're going to reach your sit bones gently towards the floor, which is going to arc your back away from the floor. So you're just going to flow back and forth with the awareness of your breath each time you exhale. You're going to feel your sit bones reach forward, but a little bit up. And then each time you inhale, the sit bones reaching down, the lower back very gently arcing away. And just flowing back and forth. We're just getting fluidity. The sacrum and the hips love fluidity. So whenever there's a locking quality or a really deep sensation, creating some fluidity in this area will help to move the energy and the sensations through the body. And remember, if your body gives off some deep sensation and it's not enjoyable, then it's a sign that you just want to back off. You might want to rest. Okay, but just being mindful as we just go through a few more pelvic tilts. Good. And before we start to do a little bit more movement with our legs, we're going to take the 4-inch block. So a lot of you, it's blue or teal. Some of you have the inflated ball that you didn't use. You can also put that in between your thighs, but most of us are on our ball, and we're going to just take our 4-inch block and we're going to pop it in between the thighs. So we're just going to bring in the little pelvic floor awareness. Okay, so feet find that hip width apart connection, comfortable different distance from your hips. And when you exhale, I want you just to try to find a neutral pelvis. Okay, so where you feel spacious, front, back, left to right. And when you exhale, you're going to root your feet down into the floor gently. Squeeze that block. Feel the pelvic floor and the lower belly gather. So the pelvic floor will gather, the lower belly will draw in. You'll feel a sensation for some of you of pulling up. When you inhale, you're going to relax the squeezing of the block, relax the belly, let it expand. And as you exhale, you're going to root the feet, squeeze the ball. Remember, we're only working at about 50, 60, 70% effort max. Feel your lower belly draw back. That's below your belly button. Maybe a sensation of up. Each time you inhale, you relax the feet, you relax the squeezing. And some of you I know like to bring in that S sound, that on your exhale, when you press your feet, squeeze the block, that S sound that we produce out the mouth, that sometimes helps us connect into the lower transverse and the lower psoas muscle. And some of you might even find some pelvic tilts coming in. Each time you exhale, the pelvis, the sit bones reach up. And each time you inhale and you relax the squeezing of the block, your sit bones reach down, little curve of the lower back. And as you exhale, you squeeze the block. You might do a little pelvic tilt, reaching the sit bones up and forward. And then inhale, release that squeezing, little reaching of the sit bones towards the floor, little arc of the lower back. And then gently squeezing the ball, the block, as you feel the lower belly draw back, the sit bones reach up. Just do 1 or 2 or 3 more. So just noticing that balance of integrity that is being created on the exhalation and that expansion, that ease that we're feeling on the inhalation. Okay, so you're going to bring, if you have your hands on your belly, you're going to bring them down to the floor. Palms are down for this one. You're going to squeeze the ball of the block, try to stay in neutral pelvis, and see if you can allow the legs to lift up off the floor. Excuse me. Now, some of you might feel that you want to just keep the knees quite bent. That will release any pull on the lower back. And then some of you might feel, oh, I want to, extend the legs a little bit more. You can take out the block now, but you're going to keep that awareness of the sensation of the lower belly drawing in and up. And we're going to do just a little leg movements to connect to the core. Okay, so you're going to bring your right leg towards your skull, your left leg away, and you're going to use your exhalation when the legs are apart. So you might bring in that S breath, that drawing in and up. And then you're going to float the legs back towards one another. And then you're going to separate. The left leg will come towards your head. The left leg will move away. And then the legs will float together. The other sound that we enjoy using is feeling above the belly, the upper transverse, that knitting and gathering of the ribs together. And if you imagine your center line is separating left and right side of your body. So from the lower ribs, we have our xiphoid process, and then it goes all the way down. There's a line that connects down to our pubic bone. And it's a beautiful ligament called the linea alba. So each time you exhale, you can feel the right and left side of your bodies coming together and gathering into that center line. Beautiful. You can pause at any time. You can hold the body, hold the legs, gather in. Some of you might even feel, oh, I feel like my arms can come up and move with the legs, which is a little bit more challenging. So that would mean right arm, right leg towards your body, your torso, the left arm, left leg away. We're just doing a whole body fascia release here and hydration. Remember, you can do this with quite a bent knee. Excellent. Yeah, there you go. Each time, really press into that ball, Candace. There you go. Yeah, good. Nice. Excellent work, Annabelle. So the more full your ball is, the harder it is to balance on it. Okay. And then you're going to pause. You're just going to come back and you're going to shake it out. Okay, we're going to lower our feet to the floor. You're going to lift your pelvis up. Just remove the slomo ball. Just bring it off to the side for a moment. You're going to widen your feet so they are the width of the mat. Arms are out to the side. Remember, they're 2 to 3 feet away. So you're creating that space so you have enough space for the shoulders to let go. And now we're just going to go into the release of a little twist. So the depth of your twist is totally up to you, but you are gathering in each time you move from the left to the right. So we're just going to start with legs first. So you're going to inhale. As you exhale, you're going to wiper the legs over to the right. Gather your core. So you're going to use that lower belly in and up, that ribs gathering. So you come over to the side. Your head might decide to turn as well, the same direction as your legs. And you're just going to hold this for a few breaths, keeping integrity. Reach energy out your sit bones and widen them. So if you reach out your sit bones towards your feet, you'll feel your lower back lengthen. And then when you're ready, you're going to inhale, exhale, float the legs back up, the center and your head. And then you're going to go to the other side. So as you inhale, you're exhaling into it and going over to one side. Head may follow. Nice release for that neck. Keeping the ribs gathering, upper psoas, lower psoas, the transverse, all wrapping left and right side towards that center line. And then I'm just going to let you guide yourself one more time as you come up to center, to the left and to the right. I'm just going to come out and watch, be aware of your sit bones. Head can stay in center or flow with the legs. Good. And once you've gone one more time to the right and one more time to the left, you're just going to come up to center, bring the arms up, and just cross the forearms over top of one another. So your right hand is coming towards your left elbow and your left hand is coming towards your right elbow. You don't have to be touching the elbow, but just widen your collarbones, widen your shoulder blades. And then you're going to go one more time and you're going to drop your legs to the right, but your arms are going to go to the left. Your head can stay in center, or your head might choose to follow your arms. That's the most common. Keep the integrity of gathering in to keep support of the body. Relax around the support. Bring the arms and the legs to center when you're ready. And then you're going to go the opposite direction. So your arms may go to the left, the legs to the right, or the legs to the left and the arms to the right, depending on which way you started. Good. So we're just doing a nice axle rotation through the body, meeting the body. You come up and just go one more time, left, right. If the body just wants to rest, rest. Nice. Good. Good, Donna. What about happens, Donna, if you separate your feet the width of the mat for you? There you go. Yes. Uh-huh. Does that feel a little bit better in your hips? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, and when you're ready, we're going to come back to center. And we're going to release shoulders a little bit. So you're going to take either your inflated ball, your block, whichever you choose, and place it in between the thighs. You're going to check in for those of you that have a wall above you, depending on if you're on the outskirts of the studio, that you can reach your arms up overhead so you're not touching the wall. You're just going to shimmy down on your mat. You're going to grab hold of your strap. Feet are hip width apart, a little bit wider if you have more sensation in the lower back. You're going to pull the strap apart so it's nice and wide. Shoulder width or wider, especially if you have shoulder injuries. So it's a little tugging apart. Now you're going to release the arms down so the strap comes just to the top of the thigh. And as you inhale, you're going to float the arms up, tugging the strap apart. And as you exhale, gently squeezing the block. As you keep tugging the straps apart, arms are going over the head. They do not need to touch the floor. Keeping your sit bones as your arms come overhead, reaching away from you. And then when you're ready, you're going to reach the arms up, widen your shoulder blades as you reach them up, and exhale back down. Okay, so when you're ready, the inhalation floats the arms up. The fingers might be reaching up. Exhale overhead, gently tugging the strap apart, squeezing the ball or the block, feeling the ribs gathering down and together. Now see if you can widen your shoulder blades apart by spreading the strap before you lift your arms up. Inhalation, exhalation down. And you're just going to flow back and forth. Just going to do some shoulder work. Do this one quite often. Just remember, when your shoulders go overhead, reach out through your sit bones, creating some space in the lower back. Beautiful. Remember that SH sound is really helpful for gathering the upper transverse, gathering the upper psoas. Good. One or two more times. You might be at a quicker rhythm or a slower rhythm. Just go at your pace. When the arms go overhead, check in that your chin is lengthening and reaching down towards your chest, which will increase the length in the back of the neck. Good. And the next time your arms come down, just relax the strap across your legs, let go of it, and just place the hands on the floor, palms down. And now we're going to use the sit bones to curl the pelvis up into a baby bridge. So you're going to inhale, and as you exhale, root the feet, squeeze the block, reach the sit bones. So just like we did a pelvic tilt, so you reach the sit bones forward, but and up, and then the pelvis will start to float up off the floor, chin towards your throat. Beautiful. Wide in the front of your chest, the back of the shoulder blades. Notice that you're not overly clenching the buttocks. Okay, you want to widen the sit bones and reach the sit bones more forward. Lengthen the back. And then you're going to slowly moving down as you unfurl the spine from the middle spine all the way through into the lower back and then the pelvis. Okay, you're going to try that one more time. You're going to inhale as you exhale, press the feet, squeeze the block, keep the sit bones wide as they reach forward and then up. That'll float your pelvis up into the air, chin towards your throat. Widen the front of the chest, widen the shoulder blades. Keep pressing all your toes, your heels into the floor. If you feel that you're compressing too much in the back, just feel more outer heel. Reach your sit bones forward towards your shins. Slowly lower down when you're ready. Good. And then if you want, you can do that same thing again, or you can bring the strap back in. So as you reach down through the feet, you exhale, you curl the sit bones forward and up. Once your pelvis floats up, you can reach the arms up by tugging the strap apart overhead. And some of you might even feel that the back of the arms come a little bit closer to the floor. Some of you may touch. Chin towards your throat. When you're ready to uncurl the spine, the arms come up, you widen the shoulder blades. So just pulling it all together, slowly rolling down. Okay, so you check in with body. Do I want to do that again? Do I want to rest? If you're resting, then you're taking away the strap, the block, drawing the legs into your chest. But if you want to go again, please do. Yeah, so your toes, Belinda, on that right foot. There you go. Yeah, you can feel that, right? And you angle that foot in just a little bit. Yeah, okay, now keep rooting through the toes. Keep rooting through the toes. What is changing for you when you do that? You don't know? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's more of a connection up into your knee. It's supporting your knee a little bit more on that side. Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can choose when it feels, you might find, oh, I want to do that one more time. What's that? Yeah, it's this. Yeah, sometimes it cuts into the inner thigh. I find that too. Yeah, nice. Good, Donna. Excellent. Whenever you're done, you take another one or two. Some of you are ready to release. You're just going to release the strap, the block, the ball, whatever you're using. Draw your legs back into the chest. Okay, so a little bit of back strengthening is being called in today from the belly. So when you're ready, you're going to roll over. And some of you, when you roll over onto your belly, you're going to find that you're looking the back wall. So you have a choice here. You might flip around and turn in so that you can look in towards the center of the studio. And this is optional if you're really good at following cues without having a visual, then keeping your head away. We're just going to do a neck release. So we're going to bring our arms up, palm down, other palm on top. Yep. Forehead resting on the back of the hands. Widen the shoulder blades. Reach some energy out the crown of your head forward. Some of you may also find, I really like this one to create space in my lower back too, that you tuck your toes under. So you take the top of the feet and you bring the toes onto the floor. So I'm demonstrating that. And then you reach back through your heels towards the wall behind you. And some of you might even notice your knees floating up. And so what we're doing is we're tractioning the spine and we're lengthening it up and down. So we're creating space in between the vertebra through the whole spine. Just breathe easily here. And you're going to soften the feet. Relax the top of the feet on the floor, and then just check in if when you land your pelvis and you wiggle it a little bit, you still have any discomfort in your lower back. You might find that you roll your thighs in a little bit more towards one another. It will widen your lower back. And then you want to keep reaching out your sit bones towards your feet. And that will keep the lower back and the sacrum really long. Okay, as we go into our back strengthening. So you're going to lower your arms down by your side, chin on the floor. Palms are facing up. Sometimes I like to just tuck my index and my thumb a little bit under my front thigh. You might not. It's up to you. So we're going to root to rise. So you're going to keep reaching out through your sit bones. You're going to exhale. You're going to press the pubic bone, the lower belly, the belly button into the floor. And as you keep reaching out your sit bones, you're going to lift and lengthen up through the torso and the crown of the head. So the crown of the head is reaching forward, the gaze is down. The pelvis and the belly is rooting into the floor. The sit bones are reaching away from you. And then you're going to slowly lower down. So control the descent and ascent of the pose. Keep spacious, so no discomfort here. When you're ready, you're going to exhale, root into the floor. Keep your sit bones wide. Reach your sit bones towards the feet. Lift and lengthen through the torso, the head. You'll float up. Good. Gaze is down instead of looking forward. Reach out through the crown of your head. You keep the back of the neck long. You might just hover here for a few breaths. When you're ready, you lower down. Nice and slow. Control your descent. One last time, if that speaks to your body, rooting the belly button, the pubic bone, the hip bones, the top of the thighs. Some of you might feel your feet starting, your shins starting to lift. That's just a rebound. Torso, head, lifting. Keep your sit bones reaching towards your feet, nice and wide. Keep rolling the thighs in. On your descent of lowering down, the arms come back up. They go and support the forehead like how we started. The shins lift up and the feet come off the floor. I'm just going to turn my head to the side because I've got a mic. And you're just going to let your legs wiper a little bit, just bringing that fluidity back to the pelvis that the pelvis also loves. Okay, we're now going to roll back onto our back. So you choose which arm wants to reach up. You're going to roll on your back. You're going to have your heads now pointing into the center of the room. So if you do want to turn around again, you're more than welcome. You're going to grab hold of your strap. We're going to do our leg stretches just to release that. So we've done some back strengthening, some chest opening. Okay, so you might find you have a slow-mo ball or a block or a bolster beside your left hip. Okay, those are just support if you need them. So they're there to start. We're going to bring the right leg up towards us. We're grabbing our strap and we're putting the strap around the big toe mound. So it's at the very base of the toe. You'll feel a mound, a knuckle there, and then also on your pinky toe. And then you're going to slide your hands down the strap, elbows on the floor. Okay, left knee is bent, aware of that left foot. Your toes, little bend of the knee if you need to. I always like to bend the knee a tiny bit. So you're going to balance the pulling down on the strap and the foot pushing up into the strap. So try to have soft hands here if you can. It'll mean that you have soft shoulders. Okay, so we're just going to circle the leg in the air. So we're just going to do some range of motion. And so you can circle the leg, allow the leg to be passive, and the hands are directing the strap, and the leg is just going for the ride. You feel the whole leg, the ball of the socket, flowing around in the glove. So it's really nourishing for the synovial fluid around the ball and socket of the hip. And you're just going to go the other way. And feel the right side of the back of your pelvis and the lower back sinking into the floor. And then you're just going to pause. Make sure you have that little bend of the knee, and you're going to keep that tugging of the strap and the pushing of the foot into the strap. Make sure it's even. You're not creating any tension in the shoulders, soft hands, and you're going to lower the leg down. This is a really good time to exhale. Use your core, gather in, use any sounds. You can hover for a moment with the foot above the floor. Some of you like to inhale and lift the leg. Some of you like to hover and inhale and then exhale and lift the leg back up. Some of you can use the core of gathering into the core of the lower belly, feet to pelvis, and the leg just floats up. Okay, make sure you keep the toes of the bent knee, that's foot that's on the floor, rooting into the floor. The heels. Some of you may even hover if you want a little bit more release to the back line as you draw the leg up towards the torso. You might just pause here instead of flowing. My body's just calling for a little length. This is your hamstrings, the back of your calves. Some of you might not want this, okay? So you're listening to your body. If you're lengthening through the back of the legs, you can have your knee bent as much as you want, but you want a heavy pelvis, especially right side. Okay, we're just tugging and feeling that back line lengthen, layering on our sit bones. See if you can reach out your sit bones towards the wall away from you or your feet. Good. Now you're going to take that strap in your left hand. We're going to cross over. So we're going to bring right leg across the body. Now this is when you can choose. Some of you might feel, that left hip, I want to support it a little bit more. So you might take the semi-inflated ball, tug it really close to the hip, and so that your leg doesn't come all the way to the floor. Some of you might even pull it out, and so that you support more of the knee. And then some of you might just find that leg, that thigh touching the floor. Okay, I like to take the block, which is the 4-inch one, and tuck it in between, so on top of my lower thigh, and then just bring my upper leg on top of it. And that supports it. And you want to reach out your right heel, because that's going to feel the release through your hip. So your left elbow's on the floor, the right hand can be on your right hip. Some of you can go into a twist where you reach your right arm out in line with your shoulder. You're in a little axial rotation, a T, with the torso and the arms. Yeah, good. Feel a little engagement of gathering in. You might pull both thigh bones up in towards the hip socket. That will engage your lower psoas, and it'll help your lower transverse come in. And then you might even notice that your hands relax even more on the strap, and some of us can even let it go. Remember, soft hands means less tension in shoulders. A couple more breaths here. Speak to your body about creating some integrity of gathering in, up, feeling nice and strong as you eventually bring that leg back up to center. Okay, just going to go into baby pose as we do, both feet up into the strap, widen the feet as much as you want, bend the knees generously here. You should be able to keep your lower back and also the back of your pelvis as close to the floor as you can. And then you're just going to rock. I know some of you like to let go of the strap and grab hold of your ankles or your toes and go a little bit deeper. But when you do that, just keep the knees quite bent. And just hovering here for a few more breaths than normal. Sometimes when we have a lot of tension in our hips, they can flow into the back, up and down the body. Okay, when you're ready, you're gonna tug on that strap, you're gonna pull down and the feet will slide together. And then you're gonna sneak your right foot out. Now we're working left leg. So take your support first and move it to the other side by your right hip so it's there. Slide your elbows, your hands down your strap, elbows on the floor. Little bend of the knee. Okay, soft hands, push your foot up into the strap, tug down on the strap. Okay, and you're gonna circle the leg. So just wanting the leg to be passive today, let the hands and the arms circle so that the leg is just going for a ride in the space. The whole leg is moving, creating some ease in lower body. And you can feel as the leg is circling in the air, you're massaging also the back of the sacrum and the lower back. And when the body says, okay, switch directions, you switch, go the other way, check in with your breath. Remember, a lot of you have been getting reminded by body to exhale out the mouth, to let go of what's no longer needed. So you're just checking in. Okay, and then you're going into lowering the leg down, soft bend of the knee first. That evenness of tugging on the strap, pushing the foot into the strap, lowering it down. Check in with that leg that's bent, that foot that's on the floor. All your toes and your heels are pressing into the floor to support the other leg hip as you lower and raise the leg. So you might exhale, lower the leg, and then inhale, float the leg up. You might even switch the breath. Sometimes I like to exhale, lower, use that gathering in to create integrity. Inhale, hover here. And then exhale, gather in where the leg just floats up towards me, back up in the air. Okay, so have a little play. Notice what you do often or what you choose to do today. And then if you come back to class, you might choose a different way to find balance. You might watch the video and play with different variations. And you might pause at the top or just do a few more flows up and down. If you pause at the top, remember to drop that left hip into the floor. Heavy hip. A little reach up through the heel. Okay, you're going to go into your twist when you're ready. That means the right hand is taking the strap. You're inhaling, exhaling. You're moving over to the right side. So that means your left leg is crossing over your body and you're supporting that lower leg if you need to, that right leg, right hip. You're putting that block if you choose in between the two thighs. I've got a wall here, so I'm going to utilize it, putting my foot into the wall. Some of us are aware of our neighbors. Yeah, that's good. So Annabelle, you're going the opposite direction. So yeah. Did you go, which way did you? Okay, so yeah, so now bring the leg over that way. Yeah, sorry I didn't catch. I know, sorry I didn't catch you on the other side. Yeah, so you know your 4-inch block, right? This one? Yeah, stick it on top of your right thigh. Yeah, and then allow that left leg to come right down. There it is. Now push through your heel of that left leg. There you go. Nice. Yeah, now we're talking. Now you're feeling it, right? Yeah. So when we go up into baby pose, you might just want to switch and do the other side to feel that you get that release on the other side. Okay, so you're taking note of how long your body wishes to be here. Yeah, good. When you're ready to come out, You can go back up into baby pose. Use the strap or not. Yeah, good. That's different, Donna, how you can come onto that hip, right? It's changing. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Nice. Notice when you come out of that, you're going to be the awareness. Ask your body, does it need something? So some of you are going back into those twist releases that we did towards the beginning where you widen your feet the width of your mat. Some of you are just hanging out. Some of you are holding on. Yeah, good. Okay. So we're going to end the practice today with the releasing of the hip. So when you're ready, you're going to have your 4-inch block by your left hip. Okay, so you're going to go on the highest height to start. Excuse me. If you have a ball, a pink one, some of you have a squash ball, some of you have a spiky ball, just put that in range so that if your right hand goes to reach out, it's there. You don't have to search for it. Okay, so the block is by your left hip. Right hand has access to the ball if it needs it. Now we're going to draw the right leg up towards us. We're going to put our right ankle onto our left thigh. And so we're going to have the arms out to the side. You can have your left hand close to holding that block. And as you exhale, you want to feel that integrity of gathering the ribs, drawing the lower belly in, and you're going to bring the right foot down and just tap that block. And then inhale as you exhale, gather in to your core to float your leg and your pelvis back up to center. And so you're going to go and do that a couple times as you exhale, touching the block. And some of you might go, oh, I feel like I can go a little bit farther. So you might lower the block down onto its next height, which is on its side. And then some of you might even go a little bit farther. Okay. I know for me, my body can go all the way down to the floor because that's where it feels comfortable, but you might stay on the block. Okay, so just giving you option, you're going to keep floating back up to center. Exhalation to float you back up. Inhale, as you exhale, use that gathering in to support you as the foot comes down to the block. So you're just going to do that a couple times. Inhale, exhale, back up to center. Inhale, exhale. Over to the block. You might even pause here for a moment. Allow that right leg to release away from your torso. Drop the thigh bone towards the socket on the right side. Good. Okay, when you come back up to center, so it's going to be your timing. I'm just going to switch legs just so I'm closest towards you. You're going to take your ball, your block, underneath your right hip, and you're just going to place it and just massage through those abductor muscles that we talked about that attach onto that greater trochanter bone. We localize that at the very beginning. Okay. And so you're going to feel this whole fleshy part of the buttocks here. So all the way from the sacrum, all the way out. And so you're going to identify if you find a spot and your body goes, oh, that's way too much sensation. You're going to move off of it. Okay, a little bit up, a little bit left, a little bit right. You can rock and roll so you can lean into it. Hold it. You can ease off. This is a really good time to come back to that cleansing breath in the nose, out the mouth. Okay, we're getting into some receptors in the fascia here that respond to myofascial release. So when we talk about myofascia, we're talking about the muscles, and the fascia is all this connective tissue, all of this innervated web of hydrated tissue that wrap around all of our nerves, our muscles, that connect everything together. So it's really what holds us together. Good. Yeah. How's that feeling in the hip? You don't, yeah, the little one doesn't really feel it that much. Do you want to try the pink one? Yeah, a little bit different Oh, sorry, I overshot a little bit. Yeah. And it might even be down towards me a tiny bit. Yeah. You feel it. You feel it. Okay. Yeah. Donna, do you need a pink ball? Yeah. Yeah. That I do find the little I'm gonna just go over into here. Yeah, the little squash ball. If you're looking for a little bit more sensation, not really there, right? Yeah, I know, right? I switch around sometimes. Yeah, good. So we're just going to take just another minute here. We don't want to localize and be in one spot for too long. So as we're focusing today on a spot, we want to take about 2 to 3 minutes maximum here. So just remember when you're rolling out, you can also take the ball from the very back of the hip and place it on the outside of the hip. So I'm going to describe that. So I'm touching what I would say the outside of the hip more towards the greater trochanter, bone. And so that means that instead of it right underneath you, it's more to the side, and then you got to roll out into it. And so here, I'm demonstrating that. So the ball is more here. So you drop it beside the hip, and then you've got to roll on top of it. So you got to play with that one a little bit more to find. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. When we're getting into gently stimulating these receptors in the body that respond to this sustained pressure or the shearing action that we're creating in the fascia. They talk to our nervous system. They actually desensitize any pain that we're feeling in the body. And they allow us to be more aware of our body in space. So that is our proprioception. Okay. Just take a few more breaths. Come out. Just remove the ball away and just take note of how you feel from left to right before we transition to our other side. Okay, we're going to be starting with the block. So that means that the 4-inch block now moves to your right side. The ball that you had is now talking with your left hand. Okay, the left leg is coming in, the left ankle onto your right thigh. Take a moment just to become heavy in the pelvis. And then you're going to inhale as you exhale, gathering in lower belly, gathering the ribs together. You're going to bring that left foot over onto the block. Okay, inhale, exhale, gathering in to float the leg back up to center. So you can rearrange the height of the block. So we start high and then work down through the block. Just do a couple times of just flowing back and forth. And sometimes your body might be called to just rest on the block. And if you do, then you can move that left leg away from the torso. Relax the thigh bone towards the socket, into the hip. Preparing your body for the deeper release through the hips. And whenever you're ready, you can come back. You can place the ball underneath the opposite side. You can rock and roll. That means leaning into it and then easing off, using that breath out the mouth. You might also find that you just lean into one spot and then you just pause and you just feel like you want to rest there. And that's what we call melting. It's a melting method, which means you're just going to put sustained pressure very gently. It should be enjoyable. It should not be sharp. It should not be discomforting. feeling a lot of discomfort in the body, you should be able to breathe and keep your face relaxed. Sometimes I walk around and I see some of you and you're in it and you're like, oh, like, okay, is that pleasurable? You want to be experiencing pleasure as you're kind of going into it. So just remember, if there's one spot that's just really highly sensitive, just go around it. You don't have to be right on the most intense spot. Sometimes that's working against, because sometimes the spot that's kind of screaming the loudest might be the most inflamed. So you want to work around it to feed and relax everything that's coming into that spot. Just remember, as we're working with the muscles and the fascia are highly innervated with sensory nerve receptors. And, you know, you're inviting in the release into the body. You just want to go kindly, go compassionately. And the body will let that in, let the sensation, the release in. Instead of us, sometimes we want to force our way in, or we think pressing into the body will release a little bit more. And sometimes at that effect, we do the opposite because the body starts to brace against us. And so it might even do the reverse effect of tightening rather than hydrating and unwinding. So you're just allowing yourself to complete your practice here. If the body calls to be done, complete. If it's calling for another movement to release, maybe finding a wall or a pillar and scooting your buttocks really close to the wall and putting your legs up the wall. Maybe another part of your body is just calling out for a little ball rolling. Okay, so just taking a moment here just to find what is needed to finish. If you go into more ball rolling, that is going to be kind of that ending part of your practice. But if you do feel, I'm ready just to relax in what we call Shavasana or corpse pose, then this is the place of integration where you just lie in stillness and you allow yourself to re-meet yourself in body and mind, and you notice what's different and you rest in stillness. It's really important at the end of practice to allow ourselves time for integration. So once you find yourself in that place of quietness, whether you've supported the body, whether you're just lying flat on the floor, you might invite in a few breaths just to allow a little bit more heaviness in the nose, out the mouth. As we come back into the present moment, just take this time to meet yourself as you are. And just to notice what's shifted, what's evolved for you. Always remember, you might think that I'm going to try this position, and your body says, no, I'm not really enjoying this. So do know that have that awareness of your body to come out and shift if you need to. Okay, so the autonomy of your practice, of your body, of what you're going into is yours. We had a little bit more of an awareness where I spoke a little bit more about the fascia, and I wanted to read you a piece that came, and it's from a book called Fascia Anatomy and Movement, and it's by Patricia Mary Sparrow. It's called Freeing the Fascia from Within. True yoga is not just doing a posture as dictated by the outside robotic influences, but more an observation from within at what happens in the body along the journey. No matter how still we think we are, there's always a tiny movement somewhere inside, visible only to us. I think it is called life. Just become quiet enough in the thinking brain to observe movement that is happening in the physical body. Relaxing, truly relaxing, is becoming quiet, watching the pattern of the breathing and keeping your attention there until the pattern of the breathing takes over and governs the movement within. This is where the stillness in yoga comes from. Not doing a movement, but observing the movement that happens with the breath. As you follow that thread of your breath through your body, letting your awareness float through the feelings and sensations of being present in the act of being. So much of our life is in the act of doing. So we touch ourselves in our practice and we befriend ourselves and we create these pockets of space just to pause. It might even be a sliver of like a minute. You're out in the street and you just pause in standing and you just come back to your breath. You feel your body. You feel your feet on the ground. And you arrive right there. And then you just notice. Notice your surroundings. Notice your breath. Feel your body. And this is what it's called, of being embodied in the present moment. And not letting the thoughts pull you around into the state of doing always. Taking these moments where we pause and check in with ourselves. They don't have to be very long. It might just be brief moments. So just start to wiggle your fingers and remember what it felt like when we moved our hand or softened our fingers, how ease created through the shoulders, and wiggle the toes. And feel how that sends energy and awareness up through the legs and the feet and the hips. Then you might take a stretch, a yawn, up through the body, down through the body. Do any movement that you need to. It might be drawing the legs in, it might be releasing the support. And then you're just going to roll over to a side if you've been on your back, or if you've been in another position, take a moment to transition, and you're just going to come up and sit. Okay, so if you have any sensations in the back of the pelvis or the lower back, and it's not feeling good being in a cross leg, because that externally rotates, you might just be straight leg. Remember, you can sweep the hands from the back of the thighs up over the pelvis. Sit on both sit bones, sit nice and tall, relax the shoulders. So there's a down through the sit bones and up through the crown of the head, arms out by the side, palms facing forward. Eyes can be open or closed as you exhale out the mouth. And as you inhale, let your arms float up. And let them touch at whatever height feels comfortable for your shoulders. And then exhale, receive that energy through the crown of your head, drawing a line down the front of your body, your heart, your hips. So arms come back out to the side, touch the ground. Inhale, bring that energy of the earth up. As the palms touch, you're going to draw a line down through the center line of your body, from your head to your heart, your pelvis. And then one more time, reaching up. This time when the hands come to the heart, just let the thumbs rest around the heart center. Take a few breaths here. Just honoring this place of the heart, the element of air, a place of compassion and gratitude and love. Also the doorway to our true self. So just noticing what that means for you. As you let your eyelids open if they've been closed and the head lift. Thank you. Class today.